American service members honored for the Afghanistan evacuation, and a first in U.S. military aid to Taiwan. All that and more today, September 1st, 2023. Good morning, early birds. I'm Zimone Perez, and this is the Early Bird Brief, produced by Defense News and Military Times. Just a quick heads up for you all, we're off Monday for Labor Day, but tune in on Tuesday for an episode with Army Times' Davis Winke. We talk about an 18-month investigation with the Texas Tribune that revealed how a group of intelligence officers from the Texas National Guard used WhatsApp to spy on migrants in Mexico and allegedly mishandled classified information. Now, back to the episode. First up, the Biden administration approved a historic military transfer to Taiwan. The Biden administration will transfer military assistance to Taiwan under a program generally reserved for assistance to sovereign independent states. Here's why it matters. The package is only $80 million of what Congress had set aside as a potential $2 billion, but the implications of using the program infuriated China. Beijing considers Taiwan a renegade province. It has repeatedly refused to rule out the use of force to take over Taiwan. It also protests all U.S. arms sales to the self-governing island. Previous arms sales to Taiwan have been approved under other authorities. U.S. officials said the provision of foreign military sales funding to Taiwan did not represent a change in policy, but the language used implied that Taiwan is or could be compared to a, quote, nation or country. The State Department notified Congress of the sale on Wednesday. It said the material would be used to strengthen Taiwan's self-defense. The notification did not specify what military equipment or systems would be paid for under the aid. It said items that could be covered included air and coastal defense systems, infantry fighting vehicles, and drones, among others. The foreign military funding may also be used to support training for Taiwanese military forces. China's foreign ministry called the move a violation of U.S. commitments under its One China policy. The only other time the U.S. has provided a non-nation with military assistance under foreign military funding was the African Union. Another important story, soldiers and Marines who were in Afghanistan at the close of the two-decade war will receive a Presidential Unit Citation for their collective courage. The Defense Department made the announcement yesterday. In 2021, troops spent 2 weeks helping evacuate more than 124,000 civilians through the airport in the capital of Kabul. During the evacuation, 13 American service members were killed in a deadly suicide attack at the Abbey Gate entrance to the airport. The Presidential Unit Citation is the nation's highest unit award. It is presented for, quote, exceptional heroism. 3 units received the honor. That means the troops from those units who participated in the evacuation may permanently wear the decoration. Most Afghans airlifted to the U.S. during the withdrawal were granted temporary authorization to be in the country, but the status they were granted expires after 2 years for most evacuees. Veterans urged Congress to pass legislation to help them stay in the U.S. Some advocacy groups recently estimated as many as 150,000 Afghans who assisted the U.S. mission in their home country were left behind. That number includes those who worked closely with American service members as interpreters and combat assistants. Thousands have State Department visa applications that have been pending for years. In other news, there's a push to tack an additional C onto an acronym the Pentagon uses to officially label its multi-billion-dollar Connect Everything Everywhere campaign. For more on this, C4ISR Net reporter Colin Demarest joins the episode. So Colin, we're talking about Joint All-Domain Command and Control, or JADC2. For those of us who are less familiar, what is it? What is happening with the effort to add another C to that acronym? Where would that be added, and how would you now pronounce it all?
So JADC2, as you mentioned, is the Pentagon's push to link forces and databases far afield from each other, connecting sailors with soldiers and the like to ensure the right people have the right battlefield information at the right time to squeeze the trigger if necessary. In doing so, defense officials hope to outthink, outplay, and outshoot tech-savvy powers like China or Russia, if it ever comes to it. And the addition of another C to make it CJADC2 signals the concept of combined, or the capacity of U.S. troops to fight and win alongside forces from Australia or the UK or some other friendly nation. While that idea is nothing new, the popularity of that tongue-twisting acronym sure is.
What should listeners know about what the Pentagon is budgeting for a project like this, and what's the department doing to bring it to life?
So the Defense Department requested $1.4 billion with a B for JADC2 in fiscal 2024. It's something the department is taking very seriously. And each of the services is pitching in. The Army has Project Convergence, the Air Force has its Advanced Battle Management System, and the Navy has its Hush Hush Project Overmatch. Keeping tabs on overall spending can be tough, though, because parts of these ventures are classified or rarely talked about in public, especially Project Overmatch, whereas the Army is more than happy to talk about Project Convergence.
Thanks, Colin. If you enjoyed our conversation with Colin, please like and rate us wherever you get your podcasts. Also on your radar for today, troops who have accumulated more than 90 days of leave should check their balances before the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. Because of a change in law, defense officials changed the rules about carrying leave over from year to year, so troops may need to use that time or they'll risk losing it. As always, service members get 30 days of leave per year. Normally, they can carry 60 days of unused leave under the new fiscal year, but there are exceptions. Under a policy called Special Leave Accrual, they can ask to carry over additional unused leave. In April 2020, at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, defense officials authorized service members to carry over up to 120 days of leave. That's because they recognize service members may have difficulties arranging travel to use their well-deserved time off. But starting October 1st, troops can only accumulate a total of 90 days of leave. 60 days of annual leave plus an extra 30 days under Special Leave Accrual. According to the Defense Finance and Accounting Service website, troops who had a leave balance of 90 days or less on December 31st, 2022 are now subject to 90-day leave carryover cap. That means on October 1st, they will forfeit any accrued leave that exceeds the 90-day cap. Why October 1st, though, you might ask? It seems a little odd. Well, it's because it's the start of the new fiscal year. Enlisted troops who could lose accrued leave of more than 90 days can sell back up to 30 days of their leave, but this action can only be taken once during a career. Service members who amass between 90.5 and 120 days of leave before the end of 2022 may continue to use that leave according to timelines established by their branch of service. Under the Special Leave Accrual policy, service members assigned to certain duties that prevent them from taking annual leave might be eligible to carry over more leave, but to do so, they must get approval from the first flag or general officer in their chain of command. No service member whose accrued leave balance exceeds 90 days will be authorized additional Special Leave Accrual at the end of fiscal 2023. Service members can check their leave balance on their leave and earnings statement. For more information on how and where to look, check out this story on militarytimes.com. And here are some other stories that we're hearing chirps about. A member of Congress and a Texas state legislator called for the Department of Justice to investigate the Texas National Guard's intelligence work at the state's border with Mexico. The lawmaker's remarks come after an investigation published this week by Military Times and the Texas Tribune. The story revealed how Texas guardsmen at the state's border with Mexico spied on migrants via WhatsApp and allegedly mishandled secret documents. In case you missed it, the top Marine Corps leader ordered every Marine unit to review its approach to safety. That's after 2 aircraft crashes within days of each other killed 4 Marines in total. Another Marine also died during live fire training earlier this month. And New Mexico's Attorney General and 13 other top prosecutors from around the U.S. are throwing their support behind efforts to compensate people sickened by exposure to radiation during nuclear weapons testing in 1945. A quick update on the 200-year-old time capsule opened this week at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. You may remember the box appeared to contain little more than dust when it was opened. West Point said yesterday the lead box actually contained 6 silver American coins dating back to 1795 to 1828 and a commemorative medal. Experts say the coins could be worth hundreds of dollars. And for those of you who are writers like me, math is kind of hard. And so the Defense Department is considering allowing calculators to remove at least one barrier to military service. Pentagon officials may let potential recruits use them for the long-standing admissions test known as the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. And on this day in history, in 1969, Muammar Gaddafi led a coup in Libya. U.S. and NATO allies would later topple the Gaddafi regime in 2011. That's it for us this morning. To get more top stories and breaking news, go to defensenews.com/EBB to subscribe to the Early Bird Brief newsletter. Please give us a like, rating, and a comment wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on social media at @defense_news and @Military Times. The Early Bird Brief is hosted and produced by me, Zimone Z. Perez. Today's episode featured stories by the Associated Press, Davis Winke, Colin Demarest, and Karen Jowers. Our editor-in-chief is Mike Gruss. Have a great day.